If you're planning a trip to the Disney parks this spring, it's time to get ready. We're going to tell you what the crowd should be like, the weather, what's happening around the resort, what should be happening, what's not happening. All coming up next, Fresh Baked. It's February, and that means it's time to start getting ready for the spring season at Disneyland. And if you're planning a trip to the Disneyland Resort during the spring, well, we're going to hopefully prepare you for that. And we're going to start with a question that perhaps we're asked most often: will it be busy? Our expectation is that it's going to be less busy than, let's say, traditional crowds for the spring season, maybe something from 2019 and before, but that it will still be most likely busier than it has been lately. In fact, I think it's safe to guess that the spring crowds may even exceed those we saw during the winter holidays, traditionally the busiest time of the year. I say that because there were a few things working against Disneyland during the holiday season: reservations, COVID, and a shortage of cast members, to name a few. But I do think that those issues will have worked themselves out, mostly anyway, by March, and we should be at a point where we're pretty close to what would be considered normal for Disneyland. This will be the closest that Disney has been to full capacity operationally, perhaps since they've reopened. And guess we'll be ready to go to Disneyland by then. Disneyland during the spring season, I mean, it's fantastic. The weather is perfect. The best weather we'll see all year. Not too hot, not too cold, not too windy, just completely ideal, mid-70s, sunny, almost every day. And that means guests are going to be more likely or more interested in going to Disneyland because at this point, COVID will be a little bit easier to manage. And by that, I mean we're going to be out of the winter doldrums, and the weather is going to be ideal. It makes it less difficult to manage to the COVID protections, as it were. So I'm not saying it's going to be packed, but I think at this point we're going to be closer to a more traditional, regular Disneyland day for that season. As for the park, again, Disneyland in the springtime is beautiful. Everything is in bloom, full of color. It might be the best the park will look all year. Personally, I can't wait to see the hub. I can't wait to see the hub and the partner statue and the castle and the Matterhorn all framed so beautifully by the pink flowering trumpet trees at the hub. Halloween and Christmas have their decorations and seasonal touches. They're lots of fun and definitely a great time to be at the parks. But native Disneyland in its natural state is no better than it is in spring. If you're planning a trip to Disneyland in the spring, good job. Let's get into that further. On the topic of reservations, I don't expect it to be very difficult to get one at this time. And for the most part, I'm talking about Magic Keys, by the way, and specifically Dream Keys and Believe Keys. In fact, you can look at the calendar right now. You can see that March is wide open during the week. Saturdays and Sundays are booked, though I do expect those to open up as you get closer to those dates. They will release more reservations as they have traditionally. April is completely wide open except for that one Saturday there on the 23rd. And then May, obviously the first week of May. So right now, it's not difficult to book a reservation as a Dream Key holder. Single day tickets, no problem whatsoever. I can't remember the last time I saw a blackout or a sold out date for a single day ticket. By the way, if you're curious about when they might start reselling Dream Keys and Believe Keys, because right now they are sold out, they've stopped issuing them. It's difficult to say. It's impossible to say. When they start selling those again, some people are wondering if it'll be by spring. That's going to be completely dependent upon this lawsuit that they're currently dealing with. I believe the sales of those keys are going to be directly related to how that lawsuit goes, so I don't think you'll be able to buy them until that lawsuit is settled, whatever settled means. So will that be before spring? I don't know. It's impossible to say. If you were to ask me to bet, if you require me to make a choice here, I think no. I don't think that they will be available for sale before spring. I think that the most likely opportunity will be again in the summer. June or July is my guess. But it obviously could go either way. All depends on the lawsuit. With that said, let's talk next about what you might be able to do, what you might be able to see in Disneyland during spring. And in fact, the schedule for Disneyland in the springtime has a lot of charm. There's a lot of fun things to do. Starting with just the basic underlying Easter season that's happening at the resort. Typically that means the Easter egg hunt, the Easter extravaganza, and then Easter-themed characters. The Easter egg hunt is typically in both parks, Disneyland and California Adventure, though it's really hard to say what they'll do this year as things of this nature have been pretty fluid since the parks reopened. Some things happen like they did in the past, some do not. For example, last year they did do an Easter egg hunt in downtown Disney, but I'm not sure if they're going to be doing one this year. But I am fairly confident that we should at least find it at Disneyland. The Easter egg extravaganza in 2020 was $6.99, and you got a fun, Disney-themed Easter egg hunt for your efforts. They give you a map, you go find the eggs in the park. It's a fun diversion while you're enjoying the rest of the park. So what is the spring season? Officially, it starts on March 20th, though there is no sort of official start and end date of the Easter season or the spring season at Disneyland officially. Not yet anyway. But let's go ahead and assume the spring season starts on March 20th. As of that date, there will be 4 attractions scheduled to be closed: the Finding Nemo subs, the Sailing Ship Columbia, Tarzan's Treehouse, and Grizzly River Run. The Finding Nemo subs were supposed to be reopened this winter. Actually, they said winter of 2021 first. Then they took off to 2021, so we all assumed winter of 2022. March 20th is the end of winter. The Finding Nemo subs are still closed. Having said that, I have no idea when to expect the Nemo subs to be reopened. They were supposed to be open already. Tarzan's Treehouse is another curiosity. Feels like it's been closed forever. I kind of got the feeling right now that they're just not interested in reopening it. That there's nothing particularly wrong with it. They may have already finished whatever it is that they're trying to do initially, and they're just leaving it closed for now because I don't know reasons. By the way, though it's not mentioned on the Disney Parks calendar, Toontown is closing completely this spring in order to prepare for the remodel of the land and to complete Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. There's no specific date as of yet from Disney, but it is our understanding that it will close in March of this year and will remain closed until Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is complete sometime in 2023. As for shows, there's no official word yet on Fantasmic, World of Color, Disneyland Forever, or the Main Street Electrical Parade. Disney has said so far only that they're going to be coming back in 2022, but I think unofficially, most people believe or assume that all of these shows will be back sometime around spring, possibly early summer. But I do think we're going to see all 4 of those shows this spring. That's my feeling, is that we're going to see all 4 this spring. In fact, we mentioned before that the spring season would help make things easier to operate. That's the time of year when you start bringing things back that you might normally have closed during the winter season when you have to be a little more cautious. Operations should also be improved by Disney's decision to move forward with their vaccine mandates for cast members. The mandate will go into effect April 11th, and that's actually the day, or at least in that general time frame, give or take a few days. I believe that's when we're going to see shows like Fantasmic come back. I think Fantasmic won't come back until after that date. But again, in general, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about the big shows all coming back this spring at the outside early summer. Let's go over to DCA next, where Food and Wine is going to be returning definitely for this spring at California Adventure, with dates scheduled for March 4th through April 26th. Expect the usual array of interesting foods available in kiosks along the parade corridor, themed merchandise, panels, and special events. This is always a fun time. So if you're at Disneyland during the spring or California Adventure during the spring, I definitely recommend spending a little time enjoying the festivities in California Adventure. Back at Disneyland, a Gay Days event has been scheduled for March 5th. Actually, I believe this event is referred to as Mini Gay Days. It's just a one day, the March 5th, whereas the more formal official Gay Days event is a 2-day event later on in September, I think. I've put a link in the description if you want to get more information. They have a whole website dedicated to this. We can also confirm on that note that Dapper Days will be returning this spring. This event is also usually held twice a year, with the spring dates scheduled for April 23rd and 24th. We've again provided a link below for more information about that event, but the basics are dress in your Sunday best, enjoy a day at Disneyland like they did back in the day. Dapper Days in spring is one of the more fun events at the Disneyland Resort, but do expect it to be pretty busy on those days. I'll add also that there are certain attractions where that might even be more heightened, certain attractions that the Dapper Day crowd sort of gravitates towards. Main Street is going to be filled to the brim with well-dressed folk. Pictures in front of the Partner statue and Sleeping Beauty Castle are always popular. As for attractions, the Mark Twain is probably number 1, with King Arthur's Carousel also a common favorite, again, mostly for the picture opportunities. I mention these so that you can either be prepared and be ready for those kind of things if you're interested in it, or to stay away. Maybe don't ride the Mark Twain if you're trying to avoid the Dapper Day crowds on those dates. Okay, there are also 2 Disney After Dark events scheduled for spring at Disneyland. The first is Villains Night on March 8th and March 10th. This event is sold out, but I mention it here for those making, a regular park visit. The park is going to be closed to general guests at 8 p.m., so plan accordingly. There are also 3 Star Wars nights, May 3rd, May 4th, and May 27th. Again, all 3 of these events are sold out as well, but like before, just letting you know, as the parks will be closing a little early on those nights. Bats Day, that's happening on May 8th. For those unaware, this is an unofficial event, kind of like Dapper Days and Gay Days, that's been going on at the park for quite a while now. And it's, at the risk of simplifying things a bit, sort of a goth, steampunk Disney mashup. We have a link for this event in the description below as well. And then one more event, Disney has confirmed that grad nights will be returning to California Adventure this year. There are no grad nights at Disneyland proper. They're at California Adventure. Those dates are May 13th, 14th, 18th, 20th, 21st, 25th, 26th, and the 31st, plus June 1st, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, and the 17th. Again, this is for California Adventure only. There are no grad nights at Disneyland proper, nor do I expect either of these events to affect the calendar in terms of park operations. The hours of operation, they will be the same. They don't close early for grad nights. Everybody just kind of shares the park together. And that is everything you should expect to see and do and feel at Disneyland during the spring season. We're expecting beautiful, near perfect weather with, medium busy crowds, and Disneyland in perhaps its most naturally beautiful state, clear skies, flowers and trees in bloom, and no seasonal skins to kind of get in the way of a pure Disneyland day. And by the way, also a fairly easy time, I believe, in making reservations. If you're planning a trip to Disneyland during the spring, I hope this information helps. But if there's anything we didn't cover, or if you have a question, please ask us in the comment section below. We'll do our best to answer it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. We'll see you in spring and Fresh Baked.